Welcome back to today's episode of Tater Talk. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Haley.
And we are super excited to have this conversation with y'all today. We are talking to Tony Henson. He is a seasoned leader, which you'll hear all about in food innovation with over 3 decades of experience in this industry.
Yeah. It's wild. And it shows.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this because I don't want to mess anything up. Tony currently serves as a lead principal development scientist for innovation at Lamb Weston. So maybe one of the longer titles, but an important one. But he's been doing groundbreaking advancements in food science since 2020, but way before then, for such a long time. His journey with Lamb Weston spans more than 2 decades, having held pivotal roles, including Senior Director of Innovation and Senior Principal Food Scientist. So before that, he's had many other roles at other companies, but we are just so lucky to have him at Lamb Weston now.
Yeah. I think it was like the SGI started in 2020.
Oh, thank you, yes.
But I think he said 2000 in our conversation because it was 25 years.
That's right.
You'll hear we got to attend his 25-year anniversary party.
Hawaiian luau theme.
Yeah, it was a whole... I don't think he knew who we were, but it was fine. We got to join his party, and it was great.
It was fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yes. But a little bit more about Tony. He has his master's in food science and technology and a bachelor's in animal sciences from University of Idaho, which he talks about, and he actually proudly wears his Vandals gear. He brings both academic rigor and real-world insight to the table, and his career has been beyond rooted in the Pacific Northwest, where he's helped shape the future of frozen foods and beyond.
Yes. So, as always, get ready for an incredible conversation, a deep dive into innovation, leadership, and the science behind the food that we eat, all with Tony Henson. So, enjoy.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. We are super excited to be here today with Tony.
Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day. But we're just curious to kick everything off with, we know you've been with Lamb Weston for a really long time. And I don't mean that to age you, but I mean that, and we know you have so many stories to tell. Thank you. Could you tell us about your journey here with the company and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. So when I was born, no, I'm just kidding.
So let's take it back to the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
Not that far back. Actually, I started with Lamb in '96. After I graduated from my master's program at U of I found a job in the Quincy plant. Worked there for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and really wanted to get into product development. Came down here, and there just wasn't a position available. But I had a friend at Ore-Ida that said, "Hey, we have they're looking for a product developer here." And I said, as much as I love Lamb, I want to be in product development. So I'd actually jumped ship and went to Ore-Ida. At Ore-Ida, over the maybe 1.5 years, 2 years that I was there, they started moving a lot of their functions to Pittsburgh. And I said, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
So Jeff Plew, I think it was, called me and said, "Hey, Jerry Sloan's looking for a product developer in the R&D department at Lamb." I said, "Oh, perfect timing."
Yeah.
So
we can thank Blue for that.
I do. I came up and interviewed with Jerry a couple times and tricked him into. I mean, he was nice enough to hire me.
Yes.
And basically, the rest is history. Been here in the product development or the R&D group since January of 2000. So
Wow.
25.5 years.
Yeah,
That's
we went to
crazy.
your
Goes
25-year party.
Oh, you
it
did?
It was great.
Sweet.
Yeah, we ended up being in town, and they're like, "Do y'all want to come celebrate Tony?" And we're like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
that's
we
hilarious.
Of course.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah,
I gotta
it was
say.
awesome.
That was
so
awesome.
fun.
Huge surprise.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we know you're now working really close with the SGI team.
Yes.
So can you? We've talked to Deb. We'll talk to Deb. Can you talk a little bit more about your involvement with the SGI team?
Yeah. So SGI was not the first group to be formed to address this piece of business that we currently didn't play in. Well, let's step back. Over the course of the years in product development, we started to see that a lot of these industry reports that talked about fastest growing restaurants, fastest growing chains, biggest chains, about half of them were chains that we didn't service. They didn't have potato items. Said, how do we fix that? So really there were a couple groups that were formed before us that really worked to address that and tried to figure out what were the needs of those customers and consumers in those platforms. And really found after a lot of product development, brainstorming, testing, that those customers and consumers really wanted products that we make, French fries, puffs.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay. So then the SGI team was developed to say, now how do we get our current products into those platforms or into those stores?
Yeah.
Bakery, coffee, sandwich shops. So that's what we've been tasked with, and what we've been working hard to do is to figure out how can we make our products work in those restaurants where they don't have fryers, they may not have freezers.
Yeah.
So that's been our challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that sounds like kind of how the products get started as a whole, is you first address the challenges that exist within the operators
Yeah.
themselves. Can you talk more about that, and then how you get to that product development phase for SGI?
Yeah, so we talk to the customers, we find out they don't have freezers, they don't have fryers, by and large. So, looking at that, they say, how can we make these products work? And we did a ton of development work, which seems like we came out with a tot and a fry. Woo! But actually, there was a lot of technology and a lot of work that went into developing those to make them perform out of an oven.
Right.
And really, by and large, our puffs and some of our oven-ready products really do perform well out of different oven platforms. I mean, almost as good as they do out of a fryer.
Yeah.
Sometimes as good as they do out of a fryer. And then we had to address the refrigerated hold
Yeah.
aspect. And we had to do a lot of work trying to identify methods or preservatives that we could incorporate into those products that would allow them to be held for a period of time. Because right now you sell frozen, you cook from frozen. That's a great way to mitigate microgrowth and
All the food
spoilage
safety.
organisms, food safety,
Yeah.
pathogens. Without that as a deterrent, what else do you have? And we use preservatives right now.
Right.
So is the refrigerated part of it one of the bigger obstacles? Because like you're saying too, I know on our website we have a lot of different ways of cooking, right? Like obviously deep fry is how what people think the most of, but you have convection and oven and things like that as potential ways of cooking on some of our products.
Yep.
So was it really that fridge part that was the biggest challenge?
The fridge part was the biggest challenge. A lot of the items that we produce that are optimized for oven cooking, we did have to do a little bit of work with the process just to optimize them. Some of our products, they do cook in those convection, impingement, those type of oven platforms, but they sometimes aren't optimized.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you can do it, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Well, we wanted to say we want it to look really
Just
as
as-
close to a refried product as possible. So that was a bit of a challenge. Continues to be a bit of a challenge, but the big challenge was that refrigerated hold and using preservatives, identifying preservatives. The biggest challenge there was identifying preservatives that were allowed in the U.S. So we have 2 preservatives that are really common in the food industry, but some customers don't want those ingredients in their food, and some countries don't allow those or don't allow them at the levels we need to have them.
Right.
So we continue to work on finding antimicrobials or preservatives that are more label friendly for those customers that don't want the other standard antimicrobials in their food, or for countries that maybe don't allow it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the challenge we have now, is how do we expand that and find other natural alternatives.
Right. And then, if you had anything else on fridge friendly.
I do have one. So and this might seem rudimentary, but like, is it just a lot of trial and error? Like, is it of trying to figure out what works? Like, what is your process in that?
So we do lit review first and try to see what's in the industry, what are other people doing, how are they addressing those concerns, because we're not the first ones that have had that issue. Obviously, those 2 preservatives are, again, commonly used in the food industry. So you work with suppliers, look at lit review and see what's out there, and then it is trial and error. You have to put it in, figure out what concentrations. The biggest challenge for us was trying to figure out how to incorporate it into our food, and then how to measure it and control it in processing.
Yeah.
That's still one of the biggest
biggest.
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, we even talked about that with Jake earlier, was how we can scale things and learning from, sure, we can test it here on a counter and take care of it. But it's like the minute that it goes to our bigger production facilities, what that looks like is so much different.
That's a big step.
Yeah,
big
I
step.
literally figured it. It's true. And I think on top of, we know fridge friendly, that was a big topic for this past year. But we also know that you create great videos on how to cook in impingement ovens and other mechanisms as well. Can you talk to us about how those cooking styles or the cooking mechanisms themselves impact SGI and the products?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So again, those customers, they don't have fryers, so we really had to look at what cooking platforms do they have. And by and large, they're impingement ovens or convection ovens, both forced air ovens, or they also, something that's proliferated over the years is what they call quick cook ovens. And quick cook ovens actually have really three basic ways to heat so they can speed up the cooking time. They heat with forced air. They also have just the heat, the temperature of the oven, kind of like a home oven. So they have that as one of the heating platforms. And then they have microwave. And with that combination, you can develop cooking procedures for those ovens and cook product significantly faster than you would baking it. It's hard to keep up with as fast as you do in the fryer, but with the right product development, we can develop products that actually do perform pretty well in those ovens as well in a short period of time.
Is I don't know why my question's going in this way, but I'm just thinking of like homes. There's air fryers. Restaurants aren't really using. Is home a little bit ahead of than food service?
That's a great question because we keep. And it was not too long ago, people really started promoting this air fryer.
Yes.
And really,
Everyone had an air fryer.
Air fryers are just forced air ovens.
Okay.
So
it just
convection
is
ovens basically are an air fryer. Impingement ovens basically are an air fryer. So the restaurants already have used air fryers for a long time. They just call them
it was
something
marketed
different.
differently.
Which the design is a little different for home, obviously smaller, and they do move air much better than a lot of the other home ovens that they use forced air.
I have a Haley question, and I will preface what this is.
Haley question.
It's just me, and anybody who's watching, or you probably both know this. I just don't know, but like, what is the difference?
Let me cut her off. Majority of us don't know that question. She's always like,
I'm getting so nervous now.
She's like, this is a Haley question, and you say it's like what did you say? It's called like when dumb people asking.
Yeah, I was to say you ask smart people smart questions. Like you're the smart person, and not the, anyways. But yes, it's maybe a Haley question. But can you please tell me the difference between impingement? Like really, like what? What is impingement? I don't even know.
That's not a dumb question at all. That's
Thank you.
A common question.
See, we all have that.
Thank you.
They are, if you're talking convection, impingement, and quick cook ovens, they're all forced air ovens. So they have air that's being blown across the product. With an impingement oven, it's actually more concentrated and higher velocity air that's blowing usually from the bottom and the top to the product. So it cooks a little more efficiently. You'll see those type of ovens, impingement ovens, a lot of times in pizza shop.
Do they like roll through?
It's a pass-through oven. Exactly.
Nice.
They have a chain that moves the product through.
Okay.
So yeah, not a dumb question.
So like the sandwich places and the pizza places.
A lot of the sandwich places. There's some that will use a pass-through oven. A lot of those use quick cook ovens. A lot of times you'll see convection ovens because they cook their bread in. And there's another a bit of a challenge when you talk about combi ovens. And people say, well, we have a combi oven. We don't have a convection oven. By and large, most combi ovens are convection ovens. You can just add humidity to it. So when they proof the bread, or you can actually cook faster in a combi oven if you use steam for like meat or something. But for French fries, no steam.
I know,
I'm laughing. I keep laughing because I'm like, did you ever think you know this much about cooking equipment when you got into product development?
No.
You're like, I knew I was going to know that much about fries, but maybe not the cooking mechanisms.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting though too.
Yep.
And a lot of great help from people in the industry, working with them, learning a ton from them. So
it's true.
Yeah, and I feel like we've had this conversation with so many people when we were having our conversations at the plant and now in innovation of the technologies, like how much the technologies have gone. And I feel like in the plant, it was like the technologies are pushing us forward, and they're doing that the same with product development, but it's almost like we're having to think ahead of like, what is the next technology that we'll be using?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like, especially for products that service this group of customers that we're talking about, is there a better way to process?
Right.
And there is.
Yeah.
When we're
True.
trying to get it,
Yeah.
exploring it, trying to get it brought into full scale production. But
Yeah.
Gosh, that's awesome. Trying to get fries everywhere. Is there anything that you feel like people should know about, like whether it's product development or SGI, that you're like, this is either a misconception, or that you're just like, this is really fun and interesting thing of, or maybe even just your journey at Lamb Weston and through the food service landscape?
Yeah.
I know I kind of threw a ringer at you.
maybe what really I think surprised me as I came into this industry, and it's a French fry. You cut it, you throw it in the fryer. Simple. No, it's not simple at all.
Yeah.
But everything that we do along the way is really to optimize quality, optimize efficiency in the plants, optimize consistency for our customers. So all of the technology that we've brought forward and that we're continuing to explore, it makes it way more complicated to make a French fry, but it really does have huge benefits ultimately. So that's probably the biggest aha that I had when I started
Yeah.
and continue to have.
Yeah. I mean, I
That's
think
true.
we're getting that more and more, that we have these conversations with
yeah.
people. We all kind of live in our own little world.
Yep.
And then the more that you realize, you're like, oh, this much goes into even the fields or the plants
Yeah.
or the product development. Like, you don't even know.
Absolutely.
We're all just lucky enough that the fries show up in front of us.
There
and
you
we
go.
get to talk about them, but we don't
Yeah.
know all the steps to the journey there.
Yeah. But then we get to brag about them to our friends when we go out to
There you go.
restaurants.
Exactly.
You know these fries you're eating? Yeah.
Exactly.
No, this has been great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much
Yeah,
for all your time
absolutely.
and your dedication to Lamb Weston. We,
Oh, yeah, no
we
problem.
appreciate it. More
Thank
than
you
know.
for keeping me with Lamb Weston.
Yeah.
You're so like we have any power. over
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope y'all enjoyed that conversation with Tony. Gosh, I just love him. He just
I
is like
know.
a breath of fresh air. And it is, when he said 2000, I know we said that in the beginning, but I just
Yeah.
can't get over it. I'm like,
No.
25 years of being a product development. That's
Yeah,
insane.
I know. Well, and especially in the fry world, like we always say, it's you can't imagine that there's that much that goes into a fry. But for 25 years, this has been his shtick. So no, we're just so lucky, and it's always so fun to see people relax after a while and tell us about what they get to do every day. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So
It's nice to get a little peek into his world.
yes, exactly. So if you enjoyed this episode or any of the other ones, please let us know, subscribe, and of course, as always, we will see you next time on Tater Talk.
Bye.